the Israelis bombed a tower, blew up a tower that housed, at the very least, the AP Bureau and the Al Jazeera Bureau. And they claimed it was also Hamas headquarters, or a Hamas headquarters.
And that they have evidence that they sent to the United States. There's been no such evidence presented.
According to Tony Blinken, there's been no evidence.
Right. According to Tony Blinken's been carrying water for Israel throughout this entire catastrophe.
And this sort of has that feeling of like when Matt Gaetz went on with Tucker Carlson. So like, you met that girl when we went out to dinner, and Tucker was like, no, I don't know who you're talking about.
Right.
And so Blinken did that version of that today, which leads me to believe that there's like a little bit of like, hopefully. But the fact is like, look, the Israelis did not want there to be reporting out of Gaza. They do not want images. They don't want third parties reporting on this. They want to be able to make it like it's just propaganda coming out of the Palestinians.
And Al Jazeera is especially critical of Israel. And I mean, like, that makes it even...
Well, yes, but in some respects, that makes the AP even more dangerous, because if the AP reports on what's going on in Gaza, it is harder to discount in the propaganda war that Israel is waging their reports, right? I mean, look, the number one thing that Israel wants to do is make this between them and Hamas. Because when you make it about them and Hamas, Hamas has already been branded in such a way that is, they're an unspeakable terrorist organization. But the fact is, this is not between Israel and Hamas. This is between Israel and essentially Palestine and the Palestinians. It had nothing to do with Hamas when Israel was basically stealing the homes of Palestinians living in East Jerusalem. It just so happens that Hamas runs the apparatus of the Palestinians, and they were trying to protect those people. They're not just bombing Hamas. They're bombing the Palestinian people. And they don't want those words said, because they want to make it like it's just a military conflict between these two, and it's not.
Two equal parties. Right?
And it's not. And so they want to prevent. Prevent essentially that there is reporting coming out of there. Here is an exchange between the owner of this building and an Israeli officer to allow journalists to take their work gear out of the building before bombing it. Here it is.
تسأل المسؤول ونقول له احنا يعني 10 دقائق ما حيصير شيء بين الساعة 3 والساعة 3 و10 العمارة مش حترجع تاني خلاص يعني احنا بدنا 4 تنفار بس 4 وكلهم لابسين الدروع مش حيروحوا يجيبوا أجهزة قتالية ولا حيجيبوا كاميراتهم وشغلهم هذول كانوا في بث مباشر يعني هاي تو كلهم هاي شوفهم تو رجعوا كانوا كلهم في المستشفى في مكان وين قتلوا ال10 أنفار امبارح في المجزرة هذول كلهم هيك الناس الجاية ما في حدا منهم مخرب إذا أعطينا 10 دقائق ساور المسؤول قول له يعني 10 دقائق ما حيصير شيء. تفضل.
يدخلوا العمارة ولا واحد صار على الناس.
إحنا محترمين رأيكم يا عمي إحنا ما بنقول لكم بدنا نيجي غصب عنكم. أعطينا 10 دقائق.
لا أخوي ليش 10 دقائق القيت إحنا صار لنا نصف الناس بدناش إنه الناس يرجعوا للعمارة للبوش خدر من شانهم مش من شاني هذا حياتهم مش حياتي.
بقول احنا الا نتجادل معك الا 10 دقائق لو في ال10 دقائق سمحت لنا نروح كان راحوا جابوا الاجهزه تاعتهم ورجعوا يعني احنا مش باكين على الجهاز خلاص انت بدك تسويه احنا يعني تعب عمرنا كله راح باتنا ذكرياتنا حياتنا ضيعتوها بدك تتكلمني هالوقت على كاميرا ما بدي احكي على كاميرا خلاص ما بدي اللي بدك اياه اسويه انا حسكر واعمل اللي بدك اياه في رب كبير تفضل
يا ابا صل على النبي
اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد
لقيت في ناس بالبرج ولا
لا؟ لا ما في ناس لا ما في ناس لا ما في ناس لا
في عملية مسح ورصد يجري في هذه الآن غارات متتالية انتصارات متتالية تزلزل
All right. So obviously what's blown up there are all of the ways of communicating footage back out of the country, or out of, I should say, out of Gaza.
Seems like that's by design.
I mean, of course. Of course.
It may not be that explicit, right? But they know, oh, journalists need their gear. We're not too keen on journalists being able to get their information out there. I mean, Israel's a democracy, apparently.
Here is...
hold on, and just 1 second, and one other point, too. If they're giving the journalists an hour to clear out, assuming Hamas, that lives in that building or has operations in that building, also got that 1 hour notice. So what's the point?
I mean...
It's just all... It's like, it's a farce. It's a farce. There's no Hamas headquarters in the AP/Al Jazeera office building. I mean, they're not actually targeting Hamas militants in there. It's just about sending a message of dominance and then also killing people to further that message.
And we should be clear here, right? I mean, Hamas is not just a fighting force. They are the administrators within Gaza, to the extent that there's much to administer, since Israel has basically closed it off. They were elected in an election that the Israelis pushed, frankly, at the behest of the Bush administration. And so it would not be that terribly surprising if there was a Hamas office in there that is the functional equivalent. I mean, the idea that there were military personnel in that building is absurd, and particularly at the point that they were shot. Like you say, you give it an hour warning, they're going to get out. The idea that there was massive, like, electronic infrastructure in there, from a communications, like there's not a tremendous amount. Like, the idea that Hamas doesn't have any type of redundancy on that stuff is absurd. The agenda of the Israelis was to wipe out the infrastructure of these media companies. That is it. And they're not coming out and saying, like, oh, there was a massive media center, a communications center in there that was crucial to stop the coordination of all these random rockets that are being sent from Hamas. I mean, it's absurd. It's absurd. It doesn't matter. The point is that you're destroying the media infrastructure in there. It is also the functional equivalent of, like, we're going to destroy an electrical power plant. We're going to destroy, any type of, like, port to get food in, or whatever it is. This is really about punishing the Palestinian people, putting them on a diet, as they used to say, or as mowing the lawn, and they don't want it being reported upon. End of story.
And when you destroy the infrastructure there, Israel, if they, when rockets come in and get past the Iron Dome, they have the funds to rebuild their infrastructure.
Of course.
They know Palestine doesn't.
Well, there's not even, they don't,
what infrastructure? Yeah. I mean,
the rockets coming from Palestine, they have no ability to aim these things in any, like, material way. They couldn't hit they don't have nearly the same technology in terms of, like, having, any ability to target this stuff. It's absurd. You will note, though, that I will say this, that Tommy Vetter, whatever the guy from Pod Save America, has said he's talked to people who worked in the building, and he knows that there are Hamas offices there, which, again, irrelevant.
Okay.
I mean, even if that was true, irrelevant.
All right. Irrelevant because, it's like they want to paint Hamas as the terrorist organization, governmental.
Well, they've already done that. And so then that gives them license to do that. But, like, Hamas is supposed to be the ones who administer stuff in that country. Like,
by all of these standards, the Israeli government's a terrorist organization. The American government is a terrorist organization, indiscriminately targeting civilians. Yeah, got it. We're all on the same page. You only do that because you know the extra baggage of what deeming brown people as terrorists, majority Muslim people as terrorists does. And it allows you to be terrorists with more resources. So cool. Glad we're having that conversation.
Yeah, I wonder if any Obama officials in the past would have liked to have, targeted the free press in any way.